Welcome to the Untrapped Podcast, where we're motivated and inspired about success, small business, and personal development. And now, Keith Kalfas.
I'm here right now with David Carroll, the founder of Dope Marketing. We flew all the way to the Twin Cities in Minneapolis. This guy built a multi-million-dollar service business, window cleaning, pressure washing, soft washing, automated, complete absentee owner to go build another business, his dream business, which is Dope Marketing. I'll put an entire interview we just did in the link in the description below. But bro, you're a marketing expert, you're a genius, and you love what you do. When I say that,
you made me blush a lot, Keith. I mean, like...
Yeah, I message this guy stuff like, I watch your content because you're so in love with what you do. Yeah. So I want to interview you here for a few minutes and go, man. What's that? What were you saying?
Well, you always give me so many compliments about, like, you hit me the other day. You're like, dude, that voice memo you sent me about, like, my smile. And where I go is just like...
Because you're happy.
But bro, I'm happy for like every day. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. Because like I've taken the things that I've learned the past couple of years and I've built the life that no matter what happens during the day, like, I'm happy, I'm in the moment. And like, for so many years, it was the grind and the hustle and the stuff and the risk and all of it that just like, the things like dopamine's cheap, dude. And we get our hits anywhere. And when I go to like, truly, when I get one of my friends that I've known for, Keith, how long? 8 years, 10 years? Like, when you hit me and you're like, dude, I'm watching you on video and you're smiling, dude, like, it brings a tear to my eye because I'm like, I feel it too.
Yeah, because so a lot of people are running their businesses and they're going through a self-imposed hell. And
Amen.
And they're so addicted to the stories and the struggles
that
years will go by and they're like, I can't do this, not one more year. Like, you could do it they'll do it for another 5 years. So you said, back in the day, I've known you since 2016. We met at the huge convention and you said something interesting to me. You said, Keith, remember when all those people were talking about automate your business and all this stuff? You're like, I actually went out and did the shit. So can you talk a little bit about your journey and how you put your family first, and I know you can't say this in a few minutes, but the automation and growing and systematizing a service business to be able to become that.
Well, Keith, it's like we were talking about a little bit earlier here. It's like, to have real control, you have to give up control. And I tell myself that every day. These little hippie beads that I wear with my kid's name on them, it goes to, I will not let my anger affect my vision. I will not let my impatience affect my vision. I will not let any other extenuating circumstance affect my vision, and I have to go there. These tools that I've picked up or what I've learned is like, when I got into the home service space, it was out of necessity. It was a low barrier of entry. I wasn't a very good employee. I wanted to do this shit on my own because I thought I could figure it out. And like, we did and we didn't. I mean, I knew very quickly into my home service business that I just wasn't that good at that. The dedication, the attention that it takes to like walk into a business every day where there are unsolvable problems. Something went on the job site yesterday. This guy doesn't want to show up to work. This thing won't happen. Like, I just knew how reactive I was, and being in a seasonal place like the Twin Cities, we can only work 8 months out of the year anyways. And so I just knew that like my service company was me cutting my teeth, understanding what I was really put on this earth to do. And I just like, I'm still figuring that out. But I think for me, in the automation or the setup, I just had a vision. I knew that it was not impossible for a home service business owner to be removed from that business. I saw people doing it, making 80 to 120 grand a year as a salary, building a business up to a point where like they gave up control of all the things that had to happen and they could just take a check, even in a seasonal business. I was watching these people buying franchises for $50,000, $100,000, and within 2 years, it's Tom and Julie, the absentee owner, they could be doing anything, and they're making real money. Their kids go to a college. They're not in the business every day. And that's a decision we have to make. And so a decision I made after investing a lot of years in the home service space was like, this just isn't that hard. Like the things that we put on our back and the realizations, it's like, dude, when you just understand like how much do you have to make off a truck going in the field every day and how many days can you get that truck to go in the field and just be responsible around the fucking numbers that they have to bring in this much. And like, if they don't, we have to make it up somewhere because we only have so much time in the year to do it. That's it. I can clean as many gutters as I can within 6.5 weeks in October. You know what I can't do? Make another week of gutter cleaning season. I can't do it. It's not in my control. But when I understood that like, spring is gonna be busy for every home service company. Summer, when the kids get out of school, you start going on vacations, the ballers, the people that like your business can kind of always depend on, that'll always spend money on they leave. So now, like, did you balance that enough? Commercial work or new home buyers or real estate agents or stuff you have to do in the summer. Then once you realize like that hump in the summer, it's gonna go spring. I don't need to market, I'm too busy, I have work coming in. But we all know within like 2 or 3 weeks, all that shit can change. You can have no work on the calendar within 2 to 3 weeks if you don't keep priming the pump. A wise man told me when I first started my company, he's like, Dave, never take your eye off the ball. His name's Chris Lamborghini's. He said, you have to always be priming the pump. Even when you're busy, you have to be advertising. What's advertising? What's the difference between advertising and marketing? It doesn't mean I have to be spending money all the time, but I have to be taking actions that get my business in front of people, because there's 3 million people in the Twin Cities. They all need their windows clean, but are they all my perfect customer? Probably not. So if I understand the positioning of my time, of my business, spring's gonna be busy, summer's gonna get slower, but then what happens at the end of August every year? When we think we're dying, when our wife is gonna leave us, when we can't pay our bills, when we can't put gas in our truck, like, oh, what happens in September? Oh God, the world just changed somehow and it's all better now. No, dude, you were just making 1 week decisions, not 1 month or 1 quarter or 1 year decisions. So like, when I took the responsibility to go into my business and actually treat it like a business, it wasn't at some emotional roller coaster of how I was feeling this week of where I was gonna spend money or where I was gonna spend my time or where I was gonna put effort. It just became predictable enough that I could step away from it, knowing that I put the work in for the same thing to happen if I wasn't there.
Are you gonna be at the 2024 Equip Expo in Louisville, Kentucky, October 15th through 18th this year? I'm gonna be there. Come meet me in person. I'll be at the Xmark booth. Take out your phone right now, actually. Take out your calendar and mark Keith Kalfas Xmark booth Wednesday, 1 p.m. Wednesday the 16th at 1 p.m. I'll be at the Xmark booth. Come and meet me. Come and say what's up. And also, I can get you a huge discount, up to 50% off on your tickets. If you go to the Equip Expo website during checkout, there's a promo code. Type in Keith50. Keith50, it'll save you up to 50%. I'll see you in October.
So as you say this, I see things in like NLP, like it's like a feeling, a vision. Imagine you're in this bubble, like a fishbowl, right? Yeah. And you can't get out. You're in this. It's like you can't divorce yourself from the gas. Now imagine you ever see imagine a soap bubble and pop, and it becomes two. So it's like a different reality, almost like the labyrinth. And then your business is no longer this thing you're trapped in. It's this thing that's outside of you. Can I jet?
Did any of us create this business to be trapped in it? Like, was that our goal from all of it? Anyone ever that started a business in the history of starting fucking businesses, did anyone go, I'm gonna do this so it's painful and it traps me and I'm stressed out and it sucks?
No, the opposite.
Yeah, but then like the result is we're not holding ourselves accountable for what we really wanted. Ooh. What did you really want? Do you wake up every morning and remind yourself of that? And again, I'll get as hippie woo-woo as you guys want to, but like, what promise did you make yourself this morning? Today's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna go get some shit done. There are plenty of people in the world that I'm healthy enough to go help that wanna give you their money to solve a problem they have. I have to accept I'm not their number one priority. No one that hired me today said, that is the one thing on the top of my list of all the places I can spend all my minutes during the day that I'm gonna hire Keith to do. No, dude, it's like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and then you don't get the attention. You know, why do you think it takes like, 7 to 20 times to follow up with someone to get them to do something? Because we're not their priority. So like when you hold yourself accountable that I have to spend the time required to get to where I want to go. Am I where I want to go? Who is? But can we be okay with the journey? Like with where we're at, with the process. When I wake up this morning and Jimmy didn't show up for work and Karen called the property manager because someone's cat looked at him wrong and then you ran over a thing and this broke and all. I promise you one thing, you cannot control any of that and it's going to keep happening every day. What are you doing? What are you doing to prepare yourself when these things come at you and say, oh my God, I'm trapped. I can't do it anymore. Like, what do you mean, dude? The shit you signed up for? Have you given up enough control to not have that affect you so much? If a ladder fell off your truck right now at a job site, what can you do? Is there anything you can do tomorrow? to make it not happen?
Well, you can put precautionary measures and training.
Okay.
Right? And everything to make people...
So let's just assume it's a girl. No one got hurt, nothing happened, but like something got left at a job site or fell over and broke. Can you control that happened in that moment?
No.
Did the person who did it that wasn't you, was that their intention when they showed up today? To fuck something up?
No.
Did the lady who left her house this morning in a Kia minivan with 5 kids with the cat stickers on the back that's driving 55 miles an hour on the way to work in your way, did she leave her house to piss off Keith?
No.
So how are you trapped, or what are you so frustrated about? Like, if you really go to the things and how much you let these things affect you during the day, think of your temperament. Think of the conversation you had with the employee that left the thing unlocked and a crackhead stole your catalytic converter last night. Think about that. Was it Jimmy's goal to do that? No. But now think of every interaction you have throughout the day that was stemmed off that frustration. How is everyone's day?
So you become hyper responsible and accountable for the energy you bring into an environment, for yourself, the way you chose. So you hold yourself accountable to what you said. It's like...
You didn't choose to be trapped. You didn't choose to be mad. You didn't go get your tax ID to be pissed off all day. What do you enjoy doing? Where's the reminder of like, when you're involved in this thing that's moving fast, it's stressful, it's fun, it's happy, like, where are you counting your wins? We know we're gonna learn from our losses. Those things sting. Like, you ask a gambler, like, what's the most money you ever won? Like, I don't know. What's a loss? Man, I busted out on this thing or whatever. It's like, everyone's gonna hold themselves accountable probably to a fault of like, the things that went wrong and how painful they are and the baggage and remember, I got screwed, Keith, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm hanging on to it.
Dude, you told me something that actually got me over the fear back in the day of hiring employees and being able to leave a job site.
What was it?
You told me when you hire somebody, of course you train them, but you have to let them trip on themselves and let them, like, you can't be in there, putting it.
Has anyone hired like a sales or a marketing or an office person, and it's like they're couple days a week into the job, and then you finally let them take their first call, and you're over their shoulder like, shh, say this. And they're like, shut the fuck up, Keith. I can't think while you're talking to me. We've all done it. It's the giving up of control.
Control.
It's like the worst thing you can ever have, because there's never enough of it until you realize it doesn't exist. Because when you give up control, you're just allowing something to go wrong. That's it. If I'm controlling something, like, no, dude, don't worry, bro. I got my hands on it. I'm on it. What if you lived in a world where you could just trust your decision making enough to where, like, if something went wrong, you weren't hard on yourself? Because did you do your best? Did you lead up to that moment and plan as much as what do they say, like, anxieties in the future and depressions in the past? And that's why the present is so beautiful? So it's like all that worrying, all that anxiety, all that thinking about what happened last time.
Dude, I got something right now for me. I think my biggest weakness is sitting on decisions, taking too long to make decisions with a paranoia around it. So how do you make...
Why are you stressing yourself out so much? You can't... Dude, as much as we all want to think life is chess, it's checkers. You can only plan so much. Like, if you want to sit around and stress yourself out about, and dude, like, I have been as guilty of this as anyone. If you want to sit and stress out about every possible outcome and convince yourself that you're like, I'm planning. No, I'm just making sure that if any of this happens, I've stressed myself out enough that I might have the reaction. You worked yourself up so fucking much that you wouldn't even remember the shit that you were anxious about. And so, like, to go through this level of planning, what if you just woke up and took your time to know when something happened, you actually had a plan that you could be like, oh, that was the outcome I was going for, or oh, it didn't go this way, but I'm not like chugging Red Bull, yelling, screaming, thinking so fast that I can't even remember what I was doing before. That like tornado of chaos that we get so comfortable in. I think it's so much more important to look at like, dude, we all know that feeling. I talk to my kids about it. That ginger ale, you're being a fucking weirdo, you're getting all squirrely, you're like, everyone sees it, we see it, we know it in ourselves. That feeling that you get when you're like, oh man, I'm fucking bugging you. Like, when you really recognize and hold yourself accountable for that action, when you start to get that feeling, that's when you don't have control. And I don't mean control of like a situation, I mean like, the outcome that you're
like
thinking.
Neurotic because you're not.
I gotta, okay, so if he says this, I'm gonna do this, or if this happens here, I'm gonna do this, or if they do well, there's so many different relationships, sales processes, follow-up stuff, like, if this person does this, think of a problem you had with an employee that you had to hold them accountable for. All right, if Keith does this, I'm going to say this, but I have to approach it this way. And maybe if I said it like this, it's like, all that's good. I'm not going to say it's time wasted completely. But if you truly think about like, what if I was just operating in a way every day that regardless of the outcome of the situation, like I knew it was going to be okay. And it's such like, oh yeah, sounds easy, dude. You're here, but it's like, no, dude. What did you think about the sleepless nights or the early mornings when you were sitting up having a fucking conniption about something?
How did you get yourself to slap down $1 million on a printer machine?
Someone else did it before. They're alive still. It's a zero. What's a problem? A problem is a zero. You want to scale? You really want to like get in a room full of like people with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars? It's the same issue. Add a zero. It's a number. And I don't mean to downplay that, but what I mean is like, dude, what you're doing isn't that special. You're not as pretty of a snowflake as your third grade teacher told you. It's unique. Yes, your problems are unique to you. Doesn't mean someone down the block's not going through the same shit. Now, like, just how hard are you on yourself? How hard do you want all this to be? Like, dude, really, like, hold yourself accountable if you're watching or listening to this. Think of the last, like, 3 times that you worried yourself to a point that no one could really talk you out of it. Like, you're just like, oh, shit, I gotta figure this out. How are we gonna make payroll? How are we gonna do this thing? We have to figure this out. We're gonna, like, remember that feeling?
Oh, yeah.
Well, how do you feel? How do you feel right now today?
It's like, it was nothing.
Was that worth it?
I exacerbated the whole bullshit in my head.
So how did I get to a point of where I could, like, literally take a step back and make the commitment that I'm not gonna feel like that anymore? Because, dude, like, I'll just say, like, I have probably put, like, finances, stress, all that stuff to the point of like, like pushed it. Where I go with it is like, all I learned about those emotions or feelings is like, I'm only in control of them. How worried do I really want to be? How stressed out do I really want to be? How much control do I really need to have out of something that I can't really decide? I can decide like what I feel about the outcome, but dude, like I'm doing my best. It's gonna go the way it's gonna go. And again, very blanket, relative statement, but everyone's not, it's just like, stop being so fucking hard on yourself.
You know, that's one thing I want to actually wrap this up now because you covered so much. Is I see on your Instagram and I've followed your journey. You've really dove into personal health and
very important.
It's a lot of cardio, a lot of exercise, like really committed. And I've watched you. How can I explain? Not only has your physique and you've slimmed down and your posture straight, you're just fucking amped, bro. And what was the thing that made you wake up to that? So you're like, boom, that's it.
I decided to stop drinking. Yeah, we've been drinking almost like 3 years, like not a sip. And it was just, I looked at anyone that's like, I mean, I'm sure there's stuff on the internet about it. It wasn't that long ago. It was only 3 years. Like, I was like the wild man, dude, your wife didn't want you hanging around without a town. Just like, that was my MO. And I looked at what was really important to me, which was my family. And I was like, if I'm not going to lead from the front, if I'm not going to be an example, there's no more. And look, I want everyone to smoke weed out of their gun with their husband and vote fucking purple. I don't care. Like, be happy. Life's hard enough to be happy. But when I looked at the life I was living and the things I was chasing, if anyone's seen True Detectives Season 1, Woody Harrelson talks about it. You know, he was chasing something his whole life and he didn't realize until he got older it was right in front of him. And I'm so blessed that outside of the business, the stuff, the whatever, dude, there were times in my life when I thought about like having a beautiful family, driving my Mercedes with my Rolex on to my house, and like I made a decision that that's going to be my life now, and I'm thankful for that every day. There's no more grind. There's no more chase. Take the car and the money. None of that shit matters. But I remember there was a time when I thought like, what if I just had that? And then like most things in life, you get it, and you're like, how much did that really matter? What really matters was right in front of me the whole time, which was my family, and it's just so easy. Why do I make the decisions I make every day? Because there are people that depend on me every day, that look up to me outside of my businesses and my employees and my stuff. Like, you talk about control. The one true thing I'm in control of is how these little humans that I put on this earth look at the world. And I just like take that really seriously.
Wow. Dave Carroll, dope marketing. That's why we came to the Twin Cities here. Bro, how can everybody find you? And you have a podcast too, because this is going to be on my podcast, the Untrapped Podcast.
We do.
What's your podcast too?
Dope Conversations with Dave Carroll and Friends. Season 2 is dropping actually beginning of next month.
Where can everybody find it?
Type Dope Marketing into a social media platform or a search engine and you will find us.
Perfect. And Dope Conversations, the podcast.
Dope Conversations, the podcast. We'll also Google, YouTube, Spotify, all the fun places.
Bro, such an honor.
Appreciate you, Keith.
All right, see you next time.
Hey, I hope you liked the show. And if you like the Untrapped podcast and you get value from it, can you please take a minute and go over to Spotify and leave it a well-worded positive 5-star review? It helps boost the rankings on Spotify so the show can get to more people. Therefore, these messages can get out to more people and inspire more people so then they can go out and start their small businesses and crush it and get to the next level. It's a huge deal. All right, I'll see you in the next show.